For my presentation, I'm going to be talking about the Personal Consumption Expenditure Price Index of the United States for the month of October. So basically, what is the Personal Consumption Expenditure Price Index, or PCE? It is basically one of two common measures of inflation, the other being CPI, or Consumer Price Index. It is also known as the PCEPI, or the PCE deflator. It is a measurement of the change in price for household goods and services and is measured monthly. An increasing PCE is a sign of inflation, whereas a decreasing PCE is the opposite and indicates deflation. PCE also measures household consumption habits, and it's able to reveal elasticity of demand for household goods and services. You can see this when a small change in price drastically reduces the amount of a good or service purchased, and also vice versa. The PCE is broken down into two groups of goods, durable versus non-durable goods. Durable goods typically last and upwards of 3 or more years. This includes things like cars, television, refrigerators, furniture, versus non-durable goods, which would last less than 3 years. This includes clothing, shoes, toiletries, paper, makeup, things like that. Now, PCE is very similar from CPI, but there are a few differences. CPI is measured by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. It is used to adjust Social Security. This also means that the CPI is more reported about and more well known. The data is collected by the Bureau from household surveys where they survey in upwards of 80,000 citizens. It measures the price index of a fixed basket of goods. Now this is a very specific and small basket compared to the PCE, which measures a very broad range of goods. The CPI usually reports a higher inflation rate than the PCE. For example, since 2000, prices measured by the CPI have risen 39% versus the PCE, which has risen 31% from 2000. The PCE is also much less volatile than the CPI. This could be from the way that the data is collected using GDP reports and businesses, or it could be measured more frequently. But yeah, this PCE is preferred by the Federal Reserve versus the CPI because it measures the broader range than the fixed basket. How the PCE is calculated is measured monthly using data from quarterly GDP reports. That means in between the time where the quarterly GDP reports are completed, they must predict how the PCE is going to be affected over the coming months. But basically, the first step is that the BEA will measure household consumption based on GDP reports and data from suppliers, businesses, corporations. This includes data on imports and exports, and this allows the BEA to determine the amount of goods available for domestic consumption. So this includes goods that are produced domestically and imported goods. The BEA then converts the price of goods from the supplier's price to the prices that will eventually be paid by the consumer, which is what we pay for the final good. And like the CPI, the data is then converted to index points, which are a unit of measurement based on the changes in inflation starting from a base year, which will have 100 index points, or as you could say it, 100%. So in essence, the base year is just the year that all other years are compared to create this percentage of inflation. This is the month-by-month PCE data for 2018. Since 2018 isn't finished yet, it starts from November 2017 up until October 2018. As you can see, it's a very steady increase. There's in the month of January and April, there's a slightly bigger difference, but it's not too much. The year by year, you can see a much more variance in terms of the data. This could possibly be because there's longer periods of time where the data is plotted. So, as we saw, month by month is fairly consistent with an average of 0.1% to 0.2% increase per month starting after April 2018. The biggest increase was 0.4% from December onto January. This could be caused because the GDP report is created monthly, that they had fresh data to report the January 2018 PCE. Besides that, it is on track for the forecasted inflation. The slope is still very predictable. It's less volatile than the year by year still. And as we saw with the year by year, overall slope is very similar to month by month, but there are small instances of deflation, which we couldn't see in the month by month data, and a big instance of inflation during the recession around 2009. And this deflation caused the debt to increase, and then which caused the lack of spending, which caused the recession. It is slightly more volatile than month by month because there's a longer period of time between each data point, and it is much easier to spot a recession or hyperinflation when looking at year by year data.